Welcome, everyone, to our podcast. Today, we're sitting with partners in school nutrition, diving into actionable inspiration to provide you not only ideas, but strategies for success. I'm your host, Maureen Pisanick, and I'm thrilled to explore this topic with you and with some of our school nutrition friends. Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to be sitting with Jan Diamond from the American Dairy Mideast, and she's going to talk to us a little bit about dairy and its evolving but very important place on the trays that we plan, the menus we plan. Jan has been a partner and a leader in our work in this region. She is the school wellness manager and is supporting youth wellness, delivering science-based information for all of us to help share out with our communities as school nutrition directors to really inform people about the importance of fostering healthy people, healthy communities, and a healthy planet now and for the future, because the American Dairy Association is a part of the mothership, the National Dairy Council as well. And Jan's local role has been very important in supporting schools. And so we welcome Jan today, and we're so excited to have you with us today.
Well, thank you, Maureen, for having me.
Yeah.
And American Dairy Association just so admires the work that Pisanick Partner does for schools. Oh. And so it's a pleasure being here. So thank you.
We appreciate it. I have to say, we've been getting milk together for years. So this Got Milk vintage hat is sitting here as our inspiration. I remember when we had our littles together and we did the Got Milk mustache campaigns and some of the health fairs.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a good run.
It has been a good run.
I've been doing this now for over 2 decades. You too,
same.
Just about.
Yeah, same. Exact July or June will be my 20th. Anniversary with American Dairy Association Mideast.
Oh my goodness.
20.
Wow. Where does the time go?
I know, right?
We've raised kids in this business,
yes,
too.
We have.
Yeah. So we have little ones that are our litmus test, if you will, for our recipes. I am so excited to talk to you today. Again, our careers have spanned 2 decades, and we've done some really fun work together. Let's talk about this year. Like, breakfast is a thing, right? Okay. So we've been doing this, coming up with solutions, strategies for success for schools, using dairy-forward recipes to really help nourish the kids that are served, but also the why behind that, right? So for me, the why this year is, sugar has to be reduced, and that's part of the rules, but it's not nutrition unless we get the kids to eat it.
True.
So talk to me a little bit about dairy's, how does a dairy-forward breakfast, stack up, helping schools achieve that nutrition goal while waiting in that sugar factor?
Right. Well, dairy is a very important factor for breakfast, for meals in general, for a couple of reasons. One is dairy is so versatile. You can take a yogurt and change it into a parfait, a smoothie. You can add it to some sauces. It's so versatile. And then the other thing is dairy is so nutritious. So we, the kids love it, and it's nutritious. So how does dairy stack up in this world of sugar compliancy and new sugar regulations? Is that basically dairy is versatile. It's kids love it. It's appealing. You can use dairy, like we mentioned earlier, in smoothies. Every day you can have a different flavored smoothie. Every day you can have a different flavored parfait. So that's really, in general, that's what dairy can do for breakfast right now. And then also dairy kids love it. And your kid loves it, my kid loves it. And not only do they love it, they're very familiar with dairy. Mm-hmm. Many kids have dairy at home. They can come to school, they can get dairy. So the versatility of dairy is really the major component of dairy that makes it so relevant in this new world of sugar compliancy. And then we also have to keep in mind that many dairy products are already sugar compliant. Mm-hmm. Your white milk, your plain yogurts, or you put those with some extra fruits and vegetables, you have a wonderful dish, but it's also no sugar added there. And then there are also lots of products already on the in the market that are sugar compliant. And most of our milk processors, they're already sugar compliant. So when food service directors are looking at the nutritional labels of their milk or of their yogurt, like, oh, wait, I'm already here.
Exactly. And it can stay on the menu. They don't have to have a mass exodus of things that are the kids' favorites, right? So, and really build upon it. I love what you hit on. So we love recipe development with you. And so you talk about smoothies and talk a little bit about the smoothie kit that we help co-create with you. And I think that, if schools are thinking, wow, what can I do for a protein-forward, fun breakfast idea? Why not a smoothie program, right?
Right. So one thing great about smoothies is that there are so many ways to make a smoothie. And you can go in your pantry right now and figure out what kind of fruit and vegetables you have, blend it with some yogurt, and you have a smoothie. So great thing about smoothies is they're not only versatile, but you probably have all the ingredients in your pantry right now to make a delicious, nutritious smoothie that kids are going to love. One of my fun success stories in smoothies, talking about breakfast, is I went to a school. We're going to do some training on smoothies, and they did not have all the ingredients that they needed to make our, what we call the sunrise smoothie. Basically 2 cans of mandarin oranges, a little bit of vanilla, and some vanilla yogurt. But what they did have was peaches. We're like, all right, well,
it's orange.
Yeah. And our food service directors and our staff are so flexible because, we never have what we need when the day starts.
Plan B.
And Plan B is always, Plan B, C, and D are always in the mix of a daily routine. And so we're like, okay, well, it's no longer sunshine smoothie. It's going to be a peachy smoothie. And it worked out just fine.
I love it.
We had number 2 cans of peaches, and we added a little bit more orange juice for a little zest, vanilla yogurt, and blended it all up. Had 48 smoothies ready in time, and we didn't even miss a beat. So the wonderful thing about smoothies is basically, here's my quick trick, by the way. If you're making a smoothie and you realize, oh, gosh, I don't have all the ingredients, if you have 6 quarts of any juice or fruit, and 12 pounds of yogurt, you got a smoothie. And you got 48 servings of smoothies.
I love that. So you hit on so many things right there I need to highlight.
Okay.
You hit on what you have in your pantry. So upcycling items that you might need to get rid of or use in new and creative ways. I love that. You hit on things that schools worry about, which is cost.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be exotic mango. It can be peachy keen and be affordable and right off of your shelf and still taste and be well received. You talk about the ability to batch. I think schools think, how am I going to do an MTO smoothie program? Yeah. And so you've really debunked several of the barriers there that I think people think about when they think, what are some creative dairy-forward recipes like smoothies we can do? You've standardized it, and it's scalable. You've taught people how to be creative and upcycle and minimize really food waste by using what you have. And then you've also taught folks that you can be flexible to using commodities. And so you talked about vegetables. Tell me a little bit about sneaking some veggies in these smoothies because, sometimes we used to call it stealth health. And then they're like, well, tell people what it is. But, the green smoothie that has a little spinach in it can be popular because it could be, a Hulk smoothie or something fun, the marketing piece too.
Right. Well, spinach, we have a smoothie recipe on our website. I think it's called, we're going to guess here, green Perry or something of that nature. And it's 2 cans of pears and some spinach and vanilla yogurt, and you got yourself a smoothie. And you can't taste the spinach, but you get that fun color and you get the fun, fresh flavor of the fruit. And so you can add really spinach to almost anything because it doesn't have doesn't have its own flavor. It takes on the flavor or anything you blend with it, and it creates that fun green.
Yeah.
So if you have a school that green is their mascot color, like great. Or St. Patrick's Day, Christmas, so that green spinach can be, and even kale. You can mix a little kale into spinach or into your smoothies as well. So that's a great thing. Talk about the not wasting food.
Yeah.
I've been to schools where they're going to toss out their bananas because they're too brown to sell. Oh, no.
Freeze.
Yeah, freeze those babies.
Freeze and smoothie. Freeze and smoothie.
Yes. And then there's another one. I was at a school right before a break, and they had a little bit more chocolate milk than they wanted. So we just blended some bananas and chocolate milk, and we had a wonderful, tasty, we call it cocoa monkey smoothie. And you're helping not only preserve your fruit or make your fruit work for you, but you're also your milk.
Yeah.
And so you can also add milk to that smoothie.
I love this. So there's so many smart tips that you just provided. I just absolutely love it. We are actually going to recipe develop today after this podcast, which I'm so excited. Part of our joy of just being colleagues for all these years. We are going to try breakfast ice cream. What do you think about that? I mean, as we talk about lower sugar, most of the kids are like, it's not fun, right?
Yeah.
Most schools are going towards movements of reducing dyes. And so you talk about how green can be spinach and how breakfast can still be fun and kid forward. So breakfast ice cream, we're going to try to do this. We've piloted it in some schools. And, it's kind of like a thicker smoothie, maybe a spoonable smoothie.
Yeah.
But isn't that a fun idea?
Totally a fun idea. And funny, I was in the conversations with school districts earlier in the school year, and they brought up like 3 different school districts brought up, can we do popsicles with yogurt? Like, how can we make this yogurt smoothie into a popsicle? And in fact, can we take this smoothie we just made, put it in a mold with a popsicle stick and make that work? And so we're researching things of that nature as well.
Absolutely. I love the idea of doing it even on a sheet pan and making it like a frozen bark, right? You know,
Totally.
so like people kind of get that concept.
Because you do have labor.
Yeah.
So how can we make these popsicles with not a lot of labor?
Correct.
So pouring in a mold with the stick, I know food service directors out there, no, that ain't going to happen.
Yeah, they're looking
but
at
wait
you
a minute, put it on a sheet pan and cut it. Now you got something.
Now you have my attention. Yeah. No, I love that.
You put the fruit on it too, to make it look nice. Yeah.
Gorgeous. Now I'm hungry for that. We have to try that. We have to try that. Not only recipe ideation and support, you come in and you wear your hat and you help people learn how to use immersion blenders and do all the smoothie prep. One of the things that I think I appreciate most about your work and your ability to support schools is really telling the mission of milk and what it achieves from a nutrition standpoint. I often believe if communities and our staffs understand the why, it's important. So talk to me a little bit about how American Dairy helps schools with education resources that they can share it out on their menus and their family conversations, their websites. The importance. I just know that, Got Milk campaign was huge. I remember being a director and having those posters all over, but also the idea of having really quick facts about vitamin D and calcium and why it's so important for kids to really help schools tell their story.
Yeah. And I think I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things I think food service directors and cafeteria staff do not realize is the importance of the food that they serve, the nutrients it provides kids, and more importantly, the nutrients milk can provide children and dairy in general. Milk has 13 essential nutrients that naturally occurring in milk. And not only are those nutrients essential, but the USDA has notified like the 3 of them our kids aren't getting enough of. They're not getting enough calcium. They're not getting enough potassium. They're not getting enough vitamin D. These are naturally found in milk. And so every time I go to a cafeteria, I say, thank you. Thank you for what you do. Because not only are you serving dairy farmers and helping agriculture, you're helping nourish our future. And these children are now receiving milk because you're serving it ice cold to the kiddos, and they're getting those 13 essential nutrients their bodies need to grow. And again, 3 of those nutrients they really need, and the U.S. has recognized that they're nutrients of concern. And so the DGA is like, hey, where can our kiddos get these nutrients? And milk is right there at the cafeterias, in schools, and ready for the kids to take. And so cafeterias, staff, and nutrition departments across the nation are doing wonderful things in helping nourish our children just by serving ice cold milk. Not only milk, but other dairy. The other dairy products also have those nutrients in it. And kids love it. So you're serving something that's so nutrient rich for our kiddos, and the kiddos are loving it. And so, I'm glad you brought that up about nutrition.
Just education, I think, is key. The why. I think if you can really empower people with that. And one of the things that I think you all have been doing a great job is thinking about even lactose-free milk, right? We do know that there are those folks out there that have communities where they're looking for milk alternatives, and instead of just jumping all the way away from dairy and going to an alternative that really doesn't have the same nutrition composition, right? Tell us a little bit about some of the research and work that dairy is working on to do some lactose-free alternatives if that becomes an issue for you, managing your special diets.
Right. Well, I'm glad you also brought up the lactose intolerance, because we do have communities out there that the kiddos either think they're lactose intolerant or they really are. Regardless of that, when they go to the milk cooler, lactose-free milk is not available to them, even though it is at home. And so if you are a school district that you believe there is a high volume of kids, if you will, that have a lactose intolerant condition, that consider serving lactose-free milk. We did a pilot test down in Cincinnati with Cincinnati Public Schools. This is on our website too, information sheet about this. And what the pilot test was all about was a subset of these schools were serving lactose-free milk alongside of their other milks that they were serving, your white and your chocolate and your variety of fat. It's just during this pilot, they were also had available to them the lactose-free milk. The result of that was very positive. Not only was more milk being grabbed and consumed, but more meals were being served. And so what food service director does not like that?
Right.
By simply ordering some lactose-free milk, putting it in your milk cooler, can actually not only increase participation, but you're now nourishing more of your children that are taking your lunches. And so you can actually find more information about that on our website, which they need probably mentioned earlier, about not only the nutrient-dense, rich packages of milk, all kinds of information is about that on our website, drink-milk.com. There's also information sheet on the lactose-free pilot test. And if you're visiting our website and you are a food service director, you're on our website, just go to the section of school resources. You'll find all this nutrition information and lactose-free information, among other wonderful things there on our drink-milk.com website.
I love that. So we talk about the economics, the nutrition, but also this best practice sharing. I think you summed this whole conversation up beautifully, that if your mind's spinning about the possibilities of what to do in your program next year, and you're thinking about some protein-rich, reduced sugar options, smoothie program resources, this lactose-free pilot, but also talk a little bit just in general about the grant opportunities, because I don't want to, people sometimes think, oh, that's great ideas, but I don't have time or money. So time, we really do try to make it efficient. We do these turnkey recipes that are scaled for school operations. Talk a little bit about the economics, some of the grant opportunities.
Great. Thank you. So we do have grants available at American Dairy Association Mideast, and what we do is provide small equipment grants to schools to help them in a variety of ways. One of them is making smoothies. So if you're a school that's interested in smoothies, what we'll do is provide a smoothie kit to you. And what that smoothie kit comes with is a handheld immersion blender, 2 5-gallon buckets, a nice little clear pitcher so you can help cup all those smoothies, a nice spatula, and some marketing material. But what that helps the food service departments do is make batch smoothies. Because, smoothies are great, but if you're feeding 300 kids every breakfast, it's kind of hard to make 300 smoothies in a quick way. This immersion blender kit can help you do that. You're making 48 at a time typically, and you're cupping them out, lidding them, and selling them. In fact, I was talking to some food service directors yesterday who are some of our smoothie kit recipients, and most of the time they cannot make enough smoothies. And so smoothies are definitely a hit for kids. It's trending now. It has for years. Who knows what's going to be the next generation of kids, but these kids are loving smoothies.
Absolutely. And getting kids involved and helping name the recipes or give their your favorite profiles. There's lots of ways to engage students in the process as well as receive support. And you talk about the merchandising and the capacity to help schools really think about it from a clear and scalable way. So we do love the work we do with American Dairy and continue to do with recipe development. We always like to end our podcast with a fun question. So what was your favorite school lunch?
I think it wasn't really a lunch. It was really items in a lunch. I loved tater tots.
Okay. That's fun.
And now, schools now can have a tater tot bar and top it with cheese and some homemade ranch dressing. I'm like, oh, game changer, right? I would eat more of those tater tots had I had all those wonderful things to put with it. And of course, chocolate milk. Yeah. I loved the chocolate milk. It was one of those things that even I didn't like anything else on my tray. I drank all my chocolate milk. And so I think, and speaking of chocolate milk, now kids are adding the decaf coffee crystals to your chocolate milk, and you can have a school-compliant mocha. I'm like, game changer, right? Like, I just had boring chocolate milk and tater tots, but now I can have a mocha and top that tater tot with some cheese. Like, totally cool. But yeah, tater tots and chocolate milk were definitely my school favorite items.
I love that. And you've leveled them up, right? So you mentioned homemade ranch dressing made with Greek yogurt. Right. That's another dairy-forward, fun way to get more dairy and nutrition into your students who doesn't love a good ranch condiment.
Right, tasty.
Well, this has been a great day of conversation about all things dairy. Hopefully you find that website and the resources as supportive as we do at Pisanick Partners. And as always, thank you, Jan, for sitting with us and having this great conversation today. We appreciate all you do to support us in the school nutrition profession and also feeding babies and keeping them nourished. So thank you so much today.
You're very welcome. Let's do another plug for drink-milk.com, right?
All right.
All right.
And Got Milk.
That's right. Got Milk. Thank you.
Thank you.